Hello and welcome to the print analysis. Well, the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance has taken a massive lead in Maharashtra, shaking off its dismal performance in the state in the Lok Sabha polls. As per the trend, final result is yet to be out, but it looks quite clear as far as Maharashtra is concerned. On the other hand, the ruling JMM Congress alliance in Jharkhand has crossed the halfway mark. We have with us Mr. Yashwant Deshmukh, founder director of CVoter. Welcome to the print, Mr. Deshmukh. Mr. Deshmukh, how do you see the Maharashtra verdict? But at the same time, what does it mean for the BJP as far as Jharkhand is concerned? Because they've not performed well there.
Well, I will come to Jharkhand later, but there is a unifying theme, because this is about arrival of a new vote bank in India. Forget about the caste equation, religion equation, all the polarization, everything. Keep that aside, because for the last 15 years, we have been watching a tactical shift as far as the turnout of the female voters was going up. It caught up with from the deficit of 10 to 15% from the male voter turnout. It caught up in the last 15 years across India. It has gone overboard that. And now that the females are voting on the schemes and issues that matter to them most, cutting across the caste and religion lines, that is the key thing. I do not think that there is any other election which has so profoundly underlined the arrival of the female voters in this spectacular manner, because the same female voters actually on the similar kind of line voted for the opposition government. I mean, basically the India alliance government in Jharkhand. So Hemant Soren won on the female vote bank. Shinde won on the female vote bank. And it's not just about the 5-6% lead that these people had among the female vote bank. It's also about the 5-6% jump in the turnout of the female voter. That has had the double impact. So first of all, they took a lead of 6%. And then second of the 6% more female came out to vote. That gave an impact of almost like 12% vote. And with that kind of impact, I guess that the politics of India from today onwards is going to be changed permanently, because this is something which we have been waiting for so long, for a society to vote beyond the polarizing line, beyond the caste lines, beyond the divisions that the politicians so love to make in our society. And yes, I know there would be big number of analysts out there, that who would be, kind of poo-pooing, oh, it's a freebie politics, they got cash in their bank. No, I'm sorry, this is different. This is so damn different, because it's not that illegal distribution of cash and illegal distribution of booze which has been prevalent for 7 decades in our country. This is the direct cash benefit transfer to the females in the household who are running their households. This might have helped them in terms of inflation. This might have helped them in terms of education of their child. This might have helped them in terms of buying medicines for them. This might have helped them buying groceries for them. This might have helped them running their own smaller enterprise. Whichever way you look at it, this is different. This is not a freebie. This is more of an investment in the society. I don't see this as a freebie. I'm sorry, because a male with an additional cash is a freebie. A female with an additional cash is an investment. I mean, this is a value-driven thing that anybody would understand. I mean, I'm sorry if anybody says that this is a freebie culture. No, it's not. It's the arrival of the female vote bank in India. And I'm not even sure the kind of impact it is gonna now have on our society and the politics that is coming. Because imagine when the 33% reservation creeps in, once that is in, you are looking at the transformation which is bottoms up from the bottom of the pyramid. The turnout is going up, and you are looking at top to bottom transformation where the leadership role is going to the females as well. And it makes me thoroughly jubilant as a psephologist to look into these kind of exercise, that it bodes really good, argues really well for the health of democracy in future.
Well, you make an important distinction between, as you also pointed out, many are saying it's a freebies culture versus, measures taken for welfare, especially for the women voters. Well, how do you explain the entire narrative of batenge to katenge? Because that is something right from PM Modi to all the BJP leaders. Everyone was talking about that, and many are saying that that has had an impact in Maharashtra.
Well, it has an impact in Maharashtra as far as male voters are concerned, the way it would have impacted them for the last 70 years. All right. We are not talking about what the traditional thing worked or they did not work. We are talking about what did actually change this election. From the two-third, one-third mandate of Maharashtra in Lok Sabha election to having a two-third majority reversed gear within 6 months. Do you think Katenge and Batenge changed that? I'm sorry, no, because Katenge and Batenge was even there in the first place. Yes, it has an impact. I'm not denying so. But that was not the change maker. That could be an issue with a right of center big number of Hindu voters. That could be an issue with the male voters in that society. But that would not have delivered this mandate. That would not have delivered change. If Batenge Katenge would have been enough, then the result would have been the same in Maharashtra that were in the Lok Sabha election. This kind of turnaround has only one reason. And the same reason, fortunately, I'm saying fortunately, is valid in Jharkhand, because then it gives us a spectrum to analyze. Why Batenge and Katenge did not work in Jharkhand? Why it worked in Maharashtra? So obviously, this did not work the way it is supposed to be working, or it was assumed to be working. What did work? Ladki Behan, it worked. Maya Yojana worked. You are getting the connection. We are having two very, very successful electoral stories right here, taken up by two different political spectrums, defying anti-incumbency and winning the election again by virtue of female-oriented schemes and by virtue of higher turnout of female voters. So I think the odds of female voter theory working more than Batenge Katenge is zillion times more than the Batenge Katenge phenomenon.
What about the tribal identity as far as Jharkhand is concerned? Because there was a lot of focus on that. The BJP obviously also ran a campaign about the Bangladeshi, so-called Bangladeshi infiltration. Hemant Soren government, Kalpana Soren, they talked about how not much had been done for the tribal community by the BJP, and they said if in fact infiltration has taken place, that shows that the center has not done what it should have. So as far as Jharkhand is concerned, how do you look at this victory as far as the results are yet to be in, but how do you see their performance, the JMM's performance in Jharkhand?
Well, I have been maintaining all along that Hemant Soren is one of those few dynasty leaders who has taken the legacy, political legacy of their father beyond that was handed over to him. So he has grown that legacy. Of course, putting him to the jail was was something which BJP in retrospect would realize that it boomeranged. It boomeranged because of the tribal sympathy going for Hemant Soren, and it was very visible in Lok Sabha election when he managed to win the 5 tribal seats of Lok Sabha in Jharkhand. So that message was very clear. It also actually paved way the arrival of Kalpana Soren as a female leader. And then with the Maya scheme, there was no answer to that. So basically, there was not just a tribal, non-tribal consolidation. There was a male-female consolidation as well. Among the marginalized voters in the Sadan community, that is the non-tribal community, among the marginalized no-income group families of that side of the spectrum, the female voters did vote for Hemant Soren. And I think Kalpana Soren ran brilliant heck of a campaign. She had a much better connect with the female voters. BJP probably missed on one point. I would say, number one, it was a harakiri to put Hemant Soren in jail, no doubt. But then they did not declare Babulal Marandi as their chief ministerial face. They did not have a face. Babulal Marandi was their best bet, still seen as one of the best, most cleanest chief minister. They had him, yet they did not declare him. So that is something which I had said even during the pre-poll program, that it doesn't make any sense. You have an asset and you are not using it. So good luck with you. I mean, that's fine. But what actually worked was the female voter. The Maya Yojana, the Awas Yojana, where the females got the patas of their buildings that were made, and particularly the tribal females. I think doling out cash is kind of looked down upon. Let me put this way. Yes, it should be looked down upon if it is being doled out to male voters. And I'm sorry for sounding like that kind of a rude. A lot of our male viewers might not be agreeing with that. But please try to understand, there is a concept of something called Stridhan, or the concept of small money saving among the housewives. The money in their hand is always, almost always, spent on the welfare of the family. That's a big difference between a spare money in the hand of the male members and a spare money in the hand of the female voters. So I don't agree with this electoral bribe or cash and freebies and that kind of phenomena. It's different. Money given to female voters is the money given to society for the welfareism of the society. I am being very blunt and very clear about that. So I see more and more governments will be looking out and increasing this. Yes, it will be having a problem of the fiscal issues running the government, what kind of thing. But I'm sure there are so many schemes which bleed out due to corruption and non-performance of various governments, that even spending in that particular area, whether it work or not, it is much better to give money to the females to put in. And I would love to see more and more government giving money for micro enterprises run by the females. Now, I believe that is the time for the next big thing to happen. They need to give more money for the female enterprise. And that is going to send the signals for the future. It's going to change. Today is a historic day. I wonder, I mean, I have been participating in so many debates, but unfortunately, everywhere it has been in the superficiality of India alliance versus NDA and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But people are not realizing what historic day this is, and how our politics of this country is going to be fundamentally changed forever from here onwards.
Well, you talked about how Babulal Marandi was not made the face for as far as the BJP is concerned, but they were banking on PM Modi. If you saw the posters, if you saw the manifesto, all that was being talked about was brand Modi. So how do you see that?
Well, that was their only last stop. Whatever they got, it is because of the brand Modi. But the thing is that they themselves talk about the double engine sarkars. So when you are saying that I am giving you a double engine sarkar and you are not declaring one engine, you are making one engine absent, and you are relying on only one engine to pull you off. Why didn't that same strategy was applied in Maharashtra? Why there was so much of engine of Shinde and Devin Fadnavis? Because they knew it works. So whatever their reason may be, I am not going. I mean, I don't know what the BJP thought about their way they were handling in Jharkhand. That's for them to analyze. But it is very clear that these days people like to see your face. Even for a lost cause like Haryana, for that matter, they did give Naib Singh Saini as the face, right? And the organization worked for it. The faceless campaigns are becoming more and more tougher by the day. People like to know whom they are voting for, whom they would make accountable for, and people just don't like to vote just because Mr. Modi is the prime minister. They are unlikely to vote for them in the Vidhan Sabha because they know Modi is not going to be the chief minister. So that is something which I guess is a sensible thing to do in all the elections. It is CEO style elections, more presidential. Elections are getting more and more presidential in nature. People like to see the faces. If you do not give them the face, then they would like to go for a known face.
Well, you talked about how, in these elections, women voters have emerged as the major force. If you look at these elections and even the bipoll results, Mamata Banerjee, Hemant Soren, Eknath Shinde, do you also see the emergence of these strong regional leaders as far as these elections are concerned?
Well, regional leaders were always the reality. When exactly we had India, when there were no strong leader, even at the time of Indiraji, Nehruji, and everybody, they were strong regional leaders. It was only a question of you see, when you talk about the major election mandate which turned India, in that way, be it 67, be it 77, be it 89, they were all about regional players. And even in Narendra Modi era, after two mandates, the 2024 Lok Sabha mandate has an NDA government by virtue of support of certain Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar. Narendra Modi doesn't carry the majority. So regional players were almost always there. It's not a question, but yes, how they are redefining themselves, reorganizing themselves. That's an important thing to understand. The dynastic politics also has a fundamental way of organizing itself. People, just like business tycoons, when they inherit the wealth from their fathers or their ancestors, if they are not good enough, they lose it out, right? We have seen so many stories going from billionaire to ragtags and ragtags to
Right.
billionaire. But same works in the politics as well. So if the heir apparent is groomed well and has the political consistency, has the political mind, you see success stories. Don't you see a success story in Stalin? Don't you see a success story in Hemant Soren? And to a large extent, I would say, don't you see a success story in Tejasvi Yadav for that matter, or to a certain extent, even Akhilesh Yadav, that he has become a pole of Uttar Pradesh. One side, whenever the anti-incumbency will churn, he will be the default recipient of the anti-incumbent vote in Uttar Pradesh. But he has worked hard. Let's give due credit where to Tejasvi Yadav as well. But you have got so many example of Dennis politics going haywire, because latest example is Uddhav Thackeray.
I was just
How
about to
on
ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how on earth you are doing politics with a party which your father founded, with a certain ideological ground which was anti-Congress to start with, pro-Hindutva to start with, and if you are diluting your core identity in terms of your political ideology, how on earth do you feel it is going to reflect among your supporters? In the long run, it is not going to work well. It might have worked well for n number of reasons in the Lok Sabha, I'm sorry to say, because there was an RSS problem, there was an internal problem, and the turnout factor was there. And so, out of the blue, the Maharashtra Lok Sabha elections kind of zapped it in a way. But that happened because BJP was not taken well by the voters. That tod phod jo kar rahe the, people were not liking it. They kind of expressed that anger with that the Lok Sabha result in Maharashtra. But once that anger expression was done, it worked like a safety valve in a pressure cooker, that steam was let go. And then they realized that, okay, we have given enough punishment to the BJP like that. Let's talk about the basics. Who is working on the ground of Hindutva? Is it Shinde or is it Uddhav Thackeray? And that realignment of Shiv Sena voters happened instantly. Right. So these things matter. I believe people do not like mandates to be disrespected. And in Maharashtra, I hate to say this, but everybody disrespected the mandate. The last time, whatever the mandate was, huge majority for the NDA alliance, BJP and Shiv Sena together. That mandate was disrespected by everybody. The first anger at that disrespect was aimed at the BJP, which they had to suffer the humiliation in the Lok Sabha election of Maharashtra. But that did not give a green signal for the other people to say, oh, our disrespect mandate was validated by the people. No, I'm sorry, it did not. And that is why now when the cannon moved towards you, you are fired. So people have given their idea very clearly about not to disrespect the mandate. I think the earlier the politicians understand and learn this, it's better.
Well, if you can focus a little on, Maharashtra, we've already talked about the factors behind the win, but what about the key figures, including Devendra Fadnavis? What does it mean for him, his politics, his future, considering we have seen the ups and downs that he has gone through?
Well, certainly he is an asset for the BJP, no doubt about that. He gracefully played the role of number two when he was asked to. He is an organizational person. So, from that perspective, he has a great future ahead. Remains to be seen now that BJP is almost crossing 100 on its own. It will be difficult to see that if BJP doesn't give their own chief ministerial candidate, because right now, as I see the screen, they are almost at 125, winning and leading. That's like getting their mojo back after. You remember the same number was there in 2014 assembly election. BJP was just marginally short of the majority when everybody was contesting alone, and Devendra Fadnavis at that point of time became the chief minister. I think with this kind of figure, yes, Shinde was a miracle magic man, but practically speaking, I would be surprised if Devendra Fadnavis doesn't become the chief minister. You know, uh, that would be a surprise for me.
Well, a lot was also being said about the campaign that Sharad Pawar led, and many were expecting, NCP led by him to do much better. What do you think, contributed to sort of them not performing the way the expectations were?
I guess that Sharad Pawar's camp lost vote largely because people could not see them winning the election. Probably after the Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, there was a sense among the masses that they are not coming to power. And once there is a sense that you are not coming to power, there is a huge chunk of middle of the ground voter who say that, okay, let's shift to where the power is coming. So between Ajit Pawar and Sharad Pawar, I was expecting Sharad Pawar to score well over Ajit Pawar due to the Lok Sabha election results and the kind of thing that we have been seeing. But it seems that overall winnability factor kind of swayed voters away from Sharad Pawar towards the other camp. So that winnability or lack of winnability probably did them in.
You talked about, the role or the lack of it that RSS played, and it led to, BJP's performance, sort of, the numbers coming down. If you look at Jharkhand and Maharashtra, at one place they have done very well, the BJP. In Jharkhand, they haven't. Whereas in Jharkhand, we know that the Vanvasi Kalyanashram, which is an affiliate, which is an affiliate of the RSS, it had really worked at the grassroots level. So what defines the role of the RSS as far as the relation between the BJP and the RSS is concerned, and how do you see their performance? How involved were they in these two elections?
I think there is a fundamental difference in terms of political aim in Jharkhand as far as BJP and RSS are concerned. I'm saying this because I know for sure that RSS aim is to work among the tribals and to take the tribals in their Hindutva umbrella and deviate from the fieldwork of conversion that is being done by the churches in the tribal areas. That's their fundamental core concern. And for that perspective, uh, RSS has always been of the opinion that the face of the state should be the tribal face. They were never in favor of a Sadan face being given as the chief ministerial face. And this is why Babulal Marandi mattered, because Babulal Marandi was out and out an RSS product. He was the most successful, most popular face, most honest face in Jharkhand politics. He was kicked out of the BJP because of the BJP's politics, which RSS never approved of. To an extent that when Hemant Soren became the chief minister for the first time, the RSS people on the ground actually worked with him. So you will be surprised to know that there is no sense of animosity as far as Hemant Soren, the leader, and RSS is concerned on the ground. They don't see him as an enemy. They see him as a tribal leader, And as long as that tribal leader is working for the tribal unification, tribal identity, and as long as tribals are not converted to by the missionaries. RSS doesn't have a horse. Are you getting my point?
Right.
They are not in the line of making a BJP chief minister just because he happens to be a BJP chief minister. They have a larger aim and larger goal than what the RS or what the BJP has. So I believe that not declaring Marandi as the chief ministerial candidate also had a lot to do with the ground support that did not swell up for the BJP over there. Number one. Number two, as I said, RSS doesn't see Hemant Soren as the enemy. They are more than happy a tribal to become a chief minister. They do not have a problem with that. Number three, this is the 100th year of RSS. They are going for a centenary celebration. They were formed in Nagpur. Losing Maharashtra would have been something biggest no for them, which, by the way, they conveyed their unpleasantness to the BJP by virtue of the Lok Sabha result in Maharashtra. I think when the point was delivered, the message was delivered, the point was well taken. They were like that, okay, आ गए हो line पे तो चलो अब हम तुमको जिताते. It's that kind of thing. And I'm sure when you, after a few days, you will read the analysis why the RSS was not really fond of BJP not giving a tribal face in Jharkhand. They were always of the opinion that a tribal face in Jharkhand is a must in order to make sure that tribals don't sway away.
Right.
That's the fact.
What about the Manipur factor? Do you think that could have also played a role in the Jharkhand victory for the JMM and BJP performing the way it did?
Not really. It's a far-fetched idea. When we asked this question, in the post-poll, nobody talked about Manipur. People talked about Baika Yojana. People talked about even Bangladesh. Among the Sadan voters, the Bangladesh issue was an important issue. Make no mistakes about that. Let's not oversimplify the thing by saying just because JMM has won, so there is no Bangladeshi issue over there. It is an issue. It was not an issue for the tribal voters. It was an issue for the Sadan voters. BJP tried its level best to make it even a tribal voter issue for the tribal voters. It has spectacularly failed in doing that. I think for the tribal voters, the development, the identity of the leadership is key. Let's not forget that identity politics still has a play. People like to see their person in power. People like to see that it's a sense of empowerment. It's the sense of, there is a sense of that my person is in this chair. So that works. That still has a play. And I guess the identity politics is pretty much globally a part of affirmative action as well. Because that changes the way the politics works, the policy works fundamentally bottoms up. So I don't actually look down upon that. I see that as a merit of democracy.
We have talked about the freebies culture and you explained the difference between the two. But from today onwards, do you think for the next few elections that we will witness, are we going to see this same, sort of yardstick being used, these same freebies being doled out? Will this become something that every election we will witness parties resorting to?
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Each and every politician worth the salt, having the even a peanut-sized brain or political understanding, will see through this. The way it is happening is that, okay, it's what is changing. ये आदमियों में दारू बांट दो वाली प्रैक्टिस थी, औरतों के अकाउंट में पैसा डालो ये प्रैक्टिस है. ऑलराइट, एक ही चीज बटनी है, तो जो बटेगी वो अब ये बटेगी, क्योंकि ये 100% डिलीवर करेगी. इसकी कोई गारंटी नहीं है, क्योंकि दारू पी के इंसान वोट देगा कि नहीं देगा इसकी कोई गारंटी नहीं. ऑलराइट, सो एनफ ऑफ दिस क्रैप and good for this investment that goes directly into the credit of the female of the household, and they will do good for that money, rest assured. That will not be wasted. So that is going to come, and this is going to change fundamentally.
But many, experts have said, this is like a form of bribery. You're just giving money to vote. That's what Aam Aadmi Party has been talking about, that, vote for me. take money from whoever, but vote for me because I'm giving you free pani, I'm giving you free bijli. They've already announced for the upcoming Delhi Assembly elections a number of SOPs. So how is development going to take place? Where will the money for the infrastructure development going to come?
When exactly was this bribery not part of Indian politics? It was earlier unaccounted for in terms of liquor and cash distribution to the male voters. Now it is accounted for. When exactly was that not part of the Indian politics? If earlier it was part of the politics and even then the development was taking place, right? I know I'm not an economist and I know I cannot go on a debate of the fiscal deficit and impact and in that way. But as I said, this is coming from the same pocket. It's one pen which is coming from the same pocket. It's just that where it is landing and how it is landing has got changed. And I'm sorry to say, I do not buy that. When people say it is bribery, I do not buy that. It belittles the female's choice and understanding what works for them. Why nobody belittled the male's choice and male patriarchal mindset of voting in a certain way because of the caste and religion line and because of these doles? Why it was never questioned? Why it was not said that democracy is doomed because of all those males voting in a certain way? Why it is questioned only when females have decided? And by the way, females have decided to vote for BJP in Maharashtra and anti-BJP in Jharkhand. What more secular verdict that you need than that? That it's a presence of mind. What is working for them on the same day? That's why I'm saying today is a historical day. In my mind, 23rd of November 24 is the day the Indian politics is going to decisively change for good in a really long run. And I'm serious about that.
My last question to you, what about the Muslim factor? If you look at Jharkhand as well as Maharashtra, do you think it has played out the way people were expecting it?
It is played out the way it has been played out. But again, the data very clearly shows there is a deviation even among the Muslim women. There is a clear deviation even among the Muslim women. And yes, it is not as precise and as decisive as the other, because obviously reason that BJP doesn't like the Muslims don't like BJP. I mean, there is no rocket science to understand that. There may be a lot of circumlocution on the saying the things, but fundamentally, BJP thrives on Hindu votes in reaction to the Muslim votes. Muslim politics thrives on anti-BJPism or anti-Modism, anti-RSSism, whichever way you look at it. And it's very normal and natural to have these reactions in a human mind and heart. And very normal for people to vote on that line. Communal polarization is a fact. People disliking a certain party or liking a certain party because of which party respected their religion or disrespected their religion. It's a normal thing to have that. So yes, that will happen. But to see a deviation in a certain demographic due to certain scheme, that is a very important point. When I say there is a significant deviation among the Muslim voters, Muslim female voters in Maharashtra, that tells you that this is some change with more and more governance and female-oriented politics might bring to basically bridge the divide, to heal the society, because they talk about the issues which matter to them. They decide on issues which matter to them. They do not decide on the issues which are more about dividing them on the caste line, religion line. Females at large do not like the divisive agenda. And period. They like the assimilative agenda. They like the agenda which gives better future, immediate and better future for their family and the well-being of their surrounding and their families. And that is here to stay. You like it or not, you hate it the way anybody. I'm more than happy to give me space to criticize it in the freebie and blah 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 blah. But anybody who says that the transferring direct cash to females is a freebie suffers from a patriarchal mindset, because they never criticize the same thing given to the males. So this is it. I believe that the coming years, The moment we have 33% reservation, this will be an accelerator of sort. And me and you both, all of us are here to stay and witness that transformation. It will be chaotic for sure. I'm telling you, it will be chaotic. But the end result, couple of decades down the lane, will be beautiful for India.
Well, before I let you go, just few takeaways for both the opposition as well as for the NDA, as far as these two elections are concerned, going ahead. Three key takeaways for both.
Well, I'll give you just one takeaway for each because that will cover
Right.
many. First of
Sure.
all, for the BJP, I guess that they did well by going back to the drawing board on learning the lessons, but still what they haven't learned that sometimes giving the face as per the public agenda is good, number one. Number two, depending on your regional faces is better, number two. Number three, governance matters. If you deliver, it matters. For the opposition, it is the other way around. The delivery matters, number one. Number two, don't overanalyze your Lok Sabha result. You were treating 99 as 199, you were treating 240 as 140. You forgot that BJP polled double than your votes, between the Congress and the BJP. So even after 10 years of incumbency, Modi remains number one popular leader of this country, and he still manages to poll 40% of the votes when compared to 20% of the Congress. There is something which is fundamentally working in his favor. You cannot poo-poo it. You have to actually come down to the third point for the opposition, that organization matters. You may curse, you may say what not to the RSS, but the thing is, RSS is doing exactly or delivering exactly the same to the BJP what Congress Seva Dal and freedom fighters delivered to you in the first 2 decades of electoral politics of India. You had an organization which was uprooted. You do not have an organization to depend on. And unless you work and reignite that organization's bottom up, you cannot paradrop names and faces and win the election. That is not going to happen. So organization matters. It is something which BJP has learned quickly after the Lok Sabha elections, and they went to their drawing board and repaired that, and which I hope that the opposition learns in better way and not just wrongly analyzing what happened in the Lok Sabha, because Lok Sabha was just a matter of internal fighting of the BJP in Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. And that's the delivery where it messed up. If you add those 30 plus 10, 40 seats to BJP's tally of Lok Sabha, they are majority, and NDA also touches 350. So nothing really changed. You wrongly analyzed or oversimplified the Lok Sabha elections. I feel sorry for big number of my editorial friends whom I was telling this right after the Lok Sabha. Don't be overexcited. You are looking at a false dawn, and BJP knows a better course correction than you. So don't get overexcited. But I am glad that this kind of shocker has come their way. And if they go back to their board, do their organizational revamp, talk about the real issues, and deliver wherever they are in government, like Hemant Soren, rather than doing a Sukhu or doing a Siddharamaiah. So I believe if they are mindful of that, they will do better in future.
Well, thank you so much for your time and this interesting take on the Maharashtra and Jharkhand election. Thank you so much for being with us.
Pleasure. Always pleasure. Thank you so much.